University. I, Bitopi Gogoi, Assistant Professor, Royal School of Business and moderator for this session, extend a warm welcome to our distinguished speakers and all the esteemed participants. Before moving on to the discussion, I would like to take a moment to briefly introduce our university to our esteemed audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Royal Global University Guwahati is a leading university of Northeast India. With highly experienced faculty and exceptional infrastructure and facilities, the university offers a unique educational experience that prepares the next generation of global citizens to lead and make a difference in the world. Our university is committed to provide unparalleled education to its students. In its quest for excellence, it continues to push boundaries in the acquiring and transmission of knowledge. Through the extremely successful RGU speaker series and other department webinars, RGU has left no stones unturned to eliminate the void of knowledge acquisition through physical interaction, and thus have facilitated the process of continuous learning from eminent personalities of diverse fields across the country for all the learners and knowledge enthusiasts. In continuation of this endeavor, Royal Global University brings before you today's speaker series on the need of HR in current situation, digital transformation. To give a brief insight into the theme of today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware that over the past couple of years, the HR function has experienced drastic changes, particularly in the way employees work, learn, and communicate. The pace of change has been exponential, with enterprises pushing for digitalization. However, no one would have imagined that a single global event, the COVID-19 outbreak, would accelerate one of the greatest workplace transformations of our times. The acceleration can also be credited to the urgency to support employees working remotely so that businesses can run as smoothly as possible and provide a superior employee experience amidst these trying circumstances. The digital transformation journey entails identifying problems that need to be solved and using technology in the most efficient way possible to solve those problems. It requires the mindsets across the organization to be changed, and this change begins from the leadership and trickles down to the rest of the company. However, the view that technology alone drives this change is an incorrect assumption at times. Technology can be merely an enabler. Many professionals believe that the central issue is not so much the technology, but how it is applied. The reality is that people are the key to successful change efforts. So, as HR takes responsibility for its own digital transformation, it is also expected to take the lead in enabling the transformation of the rest of the organization. While IT takes care of the digital aspect, HR's role is more oriented to the human aspect, helping change the mindset and helping create the culture. Effectively integrating new digital technology requires the right people in the right positions. Simply put, as the custodian of human experience in the workplace, HR is at the center of enabling digital transformation. With this brief overview into the topic for today, I would like to inform all our participants that the discussion shall be conducted in three segments today. In the first segment, the speakers shall give a very general perspective about the topic. In the second segment, each speaker shall provide their expert comments on specific aspects related to digital transformation and other role of HR. And in the third segment, the speakers shall be answering questions put up by the audience. I also therefore humbly request all the participants, if they have any questions, to kindly drop them in the Q&A box, which will be taken up in the third segment of the session. So without any further delay, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Madam Asha Sharma. Madam Sharma is the Manager Corporate HR of Everest Industries Limited, and she is associated with the company since the last 9 years. Mrs. Sharma has a rich 14 years of experience in HR, and her main forte is in building an employer brand that helps attract and leverage relevant talent. She has a thorough knowledge on performance management, organization design and development. Madam Sharma also has a hands-on experience in designing and implementing performance management with global standards in the organization. She is a graduate from Delhi University and has completed her master's in business administration from IIT Delhi. I welcome you once again, ma'am, and hand over the session to you for your general perspective. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bitopi, for the introduction. So I'll not take much time, quickly run through the transformation, what we have and what does it mean. So basically, HR digital transformation is a very hot topic for many HR professionals at this point of time. So, and for good reason, since digital technology has the potential and ability to transform HR as we know it, we will dive little deeper into the phenomenon of HR digital transformation. What is it and why it is necessary, and what are the stages? So, what is HR digital transformation? It is nothing but the process of changing operational HR processes to become automated and data driven. So it is about HR team taking up a dual challenge of transforming HR operation in one hand and transforming the entire workforce, the way work is to be done technologically on the other hand. So this is also very important, which Bitopi has touched upon a bit, that it is also very important for changing the culture of an organization. And why it is important, and as a rule of thumb, and any HR transformation, whether it is digital or not, has to take place with a very clear objective in mind. It has to have a clear business sense. We will not be able to success for as an HR transformation or making our processes into digital if we are not giving a result to the business. So this is a little bit about why it is important and what is HR digital transformation. So over to the second speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Well, we'll move on to our next speaker. I would like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Tridip Sharma, sir. Mr.
Thank you, Asad. Thank you, Bitopi. You made my life a little easy by saying and setting the context so right. See, to my mind, is HR, as Asad said, has a very big role. But if you really look at the history of HR as well as the calamities that comes in various viruses, my personal view is that this kind of viruses cannot take over the Homo sapiens, because in the past also it came, it has gone. Now it has come, it will go. But the process of this virus has created some amount of formal digitization process into our management system, be it HR, be it manufacturing, be it process, be it sales, be it whatever called finance. Everywhere the digitization which was coming slowly might have come in a very higher speed. But having understood that, one should also realize that whether this digitization take over the human interference, obviously not. Because people cannot confine themselves in few square feet of room or flat or bungalows for the rest of their life. So obviously people will move, and people has to move. In the past also people move. Otherwise the industries like service industries, the tourism industries, the travel industries will go for toss. Economy will go for a bad phase. So therefore people will move, but the process of delivering things, a bit of it or a major portion of it will take over by digitization process. And having understood that, I have coined a new terminology which is called a physical presence with digitization. Therefore the new terminology or new way of working will be physitization. It's a combination of physical presence and combination of digitization. Now, is it new? Obviously answer is not, because having coming back from manufacturing, and ASA is presently handling manufacturing, we know the manufacturing processes are largely now handled by the artificial intelligence, be it the panel boards or be it manufacturing. If you go really see automotive industries, so 99% jobs are taken over by the robotized processes. So human interfaces are less. So manufacturing could be a big example, but the other places like service industries, like there's a sales industries, In those industries, physical presence cannot be overruled. Now said that, since this is a university kind of an interface with the industry professionals, I am also sure that there have been questions arising in the minds of our students, that if it goes, whether we will be getting a job opportunity in due course of time once we pass out from our esteemed universities or institute. My submission to all of them and to the academicians, that the opportunity will not be less, rather opportunity will be more. Because all these digitizations or automations or robotizations are run by human beings. If you really see today, the manufacturing industries, those are in north or in south, people, those are working there had moved out to their respective villages. So therefore, huge amount of responsibility. So students from Northeast, students from Guwahati, students from Assam should look out those opportunities. Now the question is whether it is employment or employability. If it is the question of employment, I would say there are opportunities. If the question of employability, then we'll have to really look back and we'll have to see whether I am myself preparing for those employment or not. And the process starts with your CV. So I really don't know how much time has allotted here. Probably I will harp on to that. But really look into your CVs, my dear students. What are the things you are going to say to your HR colleagues or the people those will be recruiting you? Is that a storytelling about your competencies? Is that storytelling about you? What is the objective of that particular applications? What are the strengths you are portraying in that particular CV? What is your interest? What is your hobby? And also write very properly in the CV how this job is matching with you. Would you really like to work that job 365 days in a year, or 24 hours in a day, or 365 days in a year? So those things, if you really write properly and then place it to the right person, obviously I would say there are huge opportunity of job. As I had said in the beginning.
To add on what you said recently, we have to think out of the box now. The way you have said that we all have to look for the employability, right? So here, how we are changing our mindset is also important. Why to write in CV is important? Why can't we make video CVs where we can give example of our instances? Then our communication level will also be clear at that point of time. Why not the traditional CV is required at this point of time? So it will be like I'm sitting in front of you and taking an interview will be a kind of process if somebody is going to send me a digital CV. So this is also important for all our students to look beyond or think beyond the traditional way it is we are following.
Exactly. I really appreciate that, Asa. I really appreciate.
Yeah. Tradipji.
Yeah. See, if you really see, the second thing what I understand, I am just harping on to particularly Northeast because I belong to Assam. That see, if you really see, there are 22,000 different courses run by 6,000 institutes across the country. How many of us we really know that what are those courses? What are those institutes? What are the end result of these courses? What kind of employability those particular courses brings into my mind? So all these things put together, I am not really worried what is going to do COVID to me. COVID is a global tragedy. I appreciate, I recognize it, but the effect of COVID will be a history, and it will create a new history.
Right.
So I would like to stop here. I would like to hear from the others as well, and then at the appropriate time, I will again bug in and step in.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think we are in the process of creating new history. So now I would proceed to our final speaker for the session, Professor Dr. S.P. Singh, sir. Professor Dr. S.P. Singh has been associated with the Royal Group from its inception in 2009 as the founder director of the institution. He further moved to MET Education Group in 2013 and joined as the Senior Vice President Academics of the group and was responsible for functioning of 6 MET campuses situated in different parts of the country and abroad. He has also served as the founder Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Chhattisgarh for almost 2 years before joining the Assam Royal Global University in November 2016 as the founder Vice Chancellor. With the vision and hard work of Professor Singh, the university has been ranked as the #1 private university of Assam by Education World within a span of just 3 years. An academician and administrator by passion, Sir has more than 3 decades of rich experience in teaching, research, academic administration in institutions of repute across the nation. A geologist, MBA, and a law graduate with PhD in strategic management, Professor Singh is also an ardent baseball player and has been actively involved in various social and cultural activities since his university days. We are indeed grateful to have you as one of the speakers today, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Bitopi. It was really very kind of you. You have given such an elaborated introduction of mine. Thank you so much, Bitopi. And my esteemed 2 panelists here, 2 speakers of the day. One is Ms. Asha Sharma and second is Mr. Tridip Sarma. So I will Sarma. I mean, the H is here and there. The only difference in the name is, and both of them are Sharmas here. And I'm very, very fortunate today to listen to both of you on the topic, which is very, very appropriate at this moment of time, because HR is as such not my specialization, but as head of the institution from last 18, 20 years, I actually am doing nothing but HR. So, I mean, if you ask me end of the day, what CEOs are doing for the universities and the institutions, I think half of my job and half my success, or in fact, 80% of my success depends upon HR policies, practices, that is recruitments, appraisals, that compensation management, anything, whatever you talk in HR is my 80% job. So probably I'm not that much expert in talking to you with respect to HR, but as a CEO perspective of HR is very clear to me. And I think probably that will help my students especially and all the participants and my fellow colleagues to understand that what probably I wanted to say. Because there are 3 major roles, because I will stick to the topic and I think time allotted to me is 7 minutes. Bitopi, you can stop me at 6.5 and tell me that the time is exceeding, sure, because, you know, we professors take time like it flies. So I know that very, very well. So I will not do that. So now, I mean, if I talk about HR, I mean, first I will talk during the digital time, because all those digital things, what we are going to talk about in this webinar, or maybe whatever has already been done. I was going through many research papers and the practices being adopted by different organizations, especially corporate. I think most of them are already digitalized. I mean, as Tridip Sharma ji has said, digitalized. Maybe they are having physical and digital, a very good combination, maybe 50% physical and 50% digital. Now with the digital transformation during COVID time, it may be 80% digital or maybe later on only 20% physical. So that kind of combination is coming up, but otherwise I think all HR practices, including my university, we were by and large digital with respect to cloud computing, with respect to data, with respect to tracking system, with respect to employees appraisal, with respect to everything. I mean, most of the things are already digital, but in a setup where digital and physical is going together. Now, in the current time, after COVID, I think we are more equipped with digital technology. We are more aware of digital boon and benefits, and we are practicing on digital platforms. So we will be more conversant and comfortable with the digital platforms. So this is going to be a hybrid system, more of digital and less of physical, what I foresee for the future of industry as well as for all HR practices in the country and the world. So this is one part with general I wanted to say. As far as recruitment is concerned, during the COVID time, till the time lockdown is not getting over, or maybe after lockdown, when the scenario of physical distancing and scenario of not having 30%, 40% people working in the organization, rest are working from home, it's quite likely that we will be recruiting people based upon their now only online interviews. Forget about the physical interviews. That may save a lot of cost. HR people will be sitting at the office only or at home. They will not be allowed to travel to Guwahati to recruit from the Royal Global University. They will be recruiting from there. Sorry, Asha, that can happen. So that kind of situation will emerge. I'm very sure about it. We are doing the same thing. Same thing about the appraisal. Now appraisal, one component was appraisal was being done by, asking people, getting form filled, and maybe some kind of interview, some kind of interaction. But now it will be more, in a digital format, and appraisal system will also change accordingly, and it will be more oriented to. And third and most important thing, because I know I have only 2 minutes left, third and most important thing, if everybody is working from home, and if most of the people after the COVID also will be allowed to work from home, as Tridib Sharma ji has very rightly said, I don't believe this is going to be a very good situation if all of us will be allowed to go from work from home, and we will not be able to survive. At least I will not be able to survive. I have to go to my office. Though I'm working from home, but I'm not happy working from home. Though I'm managing very well, I'm positive by and large, but the office environment is very, very essential for the working. We all agree to that. So maybe, but then again, we have a combination. The new HR policies will emerge. Like if somebody wants to work from home, he can take salary up to the extent of 60-70% and work from home. We have this policy. If you want to work from home, we expect that you will not be working 10 hours with concentration. So you will be working 7 hours or 6 hours with concentration. You take 60% of salary and adopt a situation to work from home if that suits to the company. If it doesn't suit the company, we will not allow. So that kind of new ideas, new practices are evolving, and they are very good for the organization, because organizations are suppressed now economically during this COVID time. If we have, in place of retrenching people, if we give them combination of offers where organization can also sustain and remain there, because before it dies down, it's better sustain. And HR people can convince people to work from home and with a lower model, or maybe deferring their salary, low salary, that all models will emerge if this COVID will extend further. So that is very, very important time during COVID time, digital time, combination of it. I think these meetings and communication face-to-face is definitely far better. Communication once the digital platform is not that good. So we have to be very, very careful about lack of agility, communication gaps. And the last thing, we have to be very, very concerned about the mental and physical health of the employees. And the last is very important, that during this COVID time and the time when they're working from home, what kind of new technology, what kind of new rules, policies we adopt, so that employees, while working from home, they may be at home, but how they are growing, how they are learning new things, and what kind of new things they are learning during this period of time, so that my policy should be made on the day one of COVID, that we have done it in the Royal Global University. If people are attending number of webinars, doing lot many FDPs and this and that, they will be getting better promotion than others who are not doing it. So immediately we transform. And I hope many corporate sectors have also been transformed. So Bidopi, this was my initial remark. I think I have concluded in 6 to 7 minutes. Thank you so much.
So just before you finish, let me add on. I left Airtel 4 years ago. Around 7 years ago, we have eliminated the appraisal processes. We said that why to appraise? Because we have recruited a person based on his caliber and experiences. We don't want to evaluate him. We want to have a career discussion. So there is no process of discussing about the performance of the particular year. We said that, okay, fine, you are doing this. Next 5 years, where you would like to see yourself. So those kind of things. So there is no appraisal in many companies today. Yes. They discuss about work plan. They will discuss about career. So that is what is happening in industry back into HR processes. So we are not very worried about what is COVID can do us, because we are well in advance.
Thank you. Yeah, we are. Bitopi, over to you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Like as I had already informed earlier, we are now moving ahead to our second segment, which is relating to brief highlights on specific aspects taken up by each speaker. For this segment, I would like to start with Mr. Tridib Sharma, sir. Sir, like we know that HR is essential when it comes to influencing and sustaining the future of work. With the heightened competition for talent, the challenge is finding skilled individuals who prosper in the company's culture and also want to remain working there. Now, positioning the organization as an employer of choice depends heavily on the human resource department. What is your take, sir, on the impact digital transformation will have on the employment scenario in the current situation? Although you have already highlighted a bit on the employment part, I would also like you to highlight certain specific aspects for mainly our students who are also attending today.
Thank you, Bitopi. Thank you, Bitopi. Yeah. See, what is going to happen? What are the changes going to happen? So earlier, what we used to say that if a person comes with his qualification from a very good reputed university like Royal Global University, So he knows the basic concept has been taught by the esteemed professors, the practices. He would have also heard, he would have also gone to the practicing managers, he would have gone to industries, he or she would have seen that. But coming back to the job, he or she learns huge things through practice. So we used to call it on the job training kind of a thing. The pattern in those days was work, learn, and work. He first work, he or she learns, and then again he or she applies the knowledge into work. So work, learn, work. After this COVID, the things will get little change. Now what is happening, including me or including my boss or anybody for that matter, we are now learning what is new to has coming to our processes. So we have to learn. We have to equip ourselves with the digitization processes. We are going to change our policies. We have to recraft our working system, because people are remotely working or probably continue for some time, or probably it is as Sir had also said, since Sir had said it's a combination, and I have also said it's digitization. So in that particular scenario, we will have to learn things and then work and learn. So earlier practice was work, learn, work, will now taken over by learn, work, learn. So it's a continuous learning process. The new challenges will emerge, new things will come, we'll learn and execute. The second thing is that people are very happy now to work from home. Though people has an urge to go back to the workplaces, because the workplaces also have certain kind of challenges, like strict, completely choked, polluted, anxieties, worries, and at the same time, reaching office and coming back home, reaching home is also difficulties. Now, with this kind of an advancement of science, probably people will be working back to their home, people will be working with their nature. Probably tomorrow I will be crafting my new policy of HR sitting under a tree because I am well connected. So those kind of good things will come. OPEX and CAPEX of the organization will go down because you don't have to hire expensive offices. We don't have to hire expensive houses in the city. We will probably stay at home, stay within the nature, earn same or more and pay less. So therefore, a lot of savings. Safety will increase. And digitization, the best of the thing is going to happen is diversity increase. This is my topics of PhD. So I am very happy that diversity will increase because people will be working from home. So our female colleague will be getting better facility and they are better managers, let me tell you. Internet will be the game changer. So people will not be keeping their data in the computer. They will go for cloud computing. They will store the data in the cloud because data mining and data crunching will be a huge thing which is coming to the industry. Second thing is that in that particular scenario, what will happen to our existing employees? So as the new entrants, suppose there are two English words, let me use. One is SALE, sell. Once the sale happens to Pantaloon, big bazaars, or probably in the mall, 70% sale, all of us run SALE, sell. But when question comes to prove your potentials and capacity and strength in your job or an interview, then the different word of sell used, that is SELL, sell. So how much we can sell ourselves in the process, how much equipped we are, how much the story we are telling, what is the knowledge deployment we are doing in the job, how much the knowledge which is transferred to the job and at the same time manifested to the people those observe you. What are the customer services we are bringing in? So all these things put together, obviously there is a bit of change coming in our evaluation processes. As SP Singh sir has rightly said, the appraisal process will not be the same. The appraisal process I am going to draft for 2020-21 or 22-23 for my present bank, or tomorrow if I go for some kind of a seminar, obviously I will not go for that 5 KRAs and then mid-term appraisal and the end of the year appraisal, and there is a rating system and there is a talent council. All these things will be very, very irrelevant because the new dynamics, the new work kind of a thing, the processes, the evaluation of the people will be much more enlarged. Therefore, to beat with this artificial intelligence, what is required to my mind is emotional intelligence. We have to evaluate the person in the era of artificial intelligence, the human intelligence called emotional intelligence. There is a beautiful book I have read around 10 years ago. That book was What Got You Here Will Not Get You There. That was written by Mr. Goldsmith. That's a beautiful masterpiece which is very, very applicable today, because what was relevant yesterday will not be relevant today. It is completely new. Our customer dynamics, customer centricity, customer requirements, customer philosophy, customer needs are undergoing sea change. Today, I am sitting as a customer sitting at my home. I am looking at the internet, what kind of a shirt I am going to buy, what dry fruits I need, what are the cosmetics I am going to use. Those things are the service providers are bringing to the doorstep. So therefore, organizations like, I am not a MWA service holder, I don't use MWA product, neither I sell, but the companies like MWA, the internet service providers, the food providers, though what is called the Amazons and the world, those will be the game changer in today's world. Internet service provider, my ex-company Airtel, I'm very happy. Those companies will be making huge money because internet will be the game changer. Wi-Fi will be the life. Wi-Fi will be equally important like wife. WIFE and Wi-Fi. Both of the things will be integral part of our life. I want to stop here. Time is limited. I would like to listen and then again I will join.
Thank you so much, sir, for those insights. Now I would like to move to Professor Dr. S.P. Singh, sir, for his expert opinion. Sir, in the current situation, new business models, changes in work norms, and new methods for assessing people, not just by experience or education, but on their sheer capabilities would be adopted by many organizations. Employees will need upskilling and reskilling to ensure that they are prepared for the current scenario. This would lead to a total revisit in the HR practices. So in your opinion, what strategies do you think will be most beneficial for the organizations, and how should leaders plan for closing a digital skill gap?
Okay, thank you. Digital skill gap, I'll come later, but first I let you know that what actually is basically required during this pandemic time, because I still foresee that another few months will be either working from home or maybe most of the people will be working from home. And I think many actions have been taken by each and every organization. So there may be something which has already been done by Asha Sharma ji and Trildev Sharma ji in their organization. But for the benefit of all, I will try to tell that what all skilling is going to be most important. Many HR professionals are already skilled, but many were thinking that those skills may not be required since it is a physical system. But now when it is going to be digital system, I think it is going to be very badly required for each and every HR professionals and all the professionals in every organization. So for HR specifically, because I'm concentrating on that every HR professional and everybody who's associated with HR and decision making should have a technology aptitude. I personally was having not that much technology aptitude, and I was finding it very difficult initially to read from my mobile phone and approving things online. But then I gradually have evolved. Second is mastering social media. Still people are mastering social media for their personal gains. But I tell you, unless and until HR professionals, especially if they are not visible to by and large 100% on the social media, they will not remain a good HR professionals at all. I can say to that extent, and including all other employees, because it is social media which is creating my brand as on date, and my brand is my university or my institution or my company. If I'm not involved, it means I'm lagging behind. Third is about analytics and data driven decision making and artificial intelligence, as Trildev Sharma ji has said. Unless and until we are conversant with the data driven technology, I think we are not going to be very efficient even working from home and this digital world. Then marketing skills for HR people. HR people think marketing is not my job, most of them, but marketing is the most important job of HR, because if they will not be able to build the brand of the company, nobody will join you and nobody will apply to you. So this time is a transition time, so that HR professionals should think that they are also people required a lot of marketing skills. They should upgrade themselves. Then lead intelligent digital processes. I mean, there are so many intelligent digital processes. They have to acquaint with that and they have to learn that. Human resource information softwares are there. They, if at all not comfortable, they should do it. Then talent acquisition software, that is called TAS. TAS is very, very important. If you are not conversant, you should learn during this time. If these few things are not with you, and last is talent management software. If you are not aware of it, you are not going to be the post-COVID HR manager at all. I can say to that extent. So it's a big challenge for all people in HR to do all these things and become proficient. And working in the office maybe for 8 hours per day, but now I tell you, you have to work 12 hours if you want to fight. Today Sharma ji was talking about the student. The student will somehow come down to a level and have sustain initially to have some job at the low cost, low salary. And if they are talented, they will learn. I'm very sure about all those students who are talented with energy, they will learn. Companies are training them. All my such students are successful. They initially were having no skills and they have this much skills now. But some people were having so many skills and they have no skills now. That is another scenario because they are not upgrading themselves. Skilling, unskilling, reskilling is not happening in their life. They are not lifelong learners. So we and Royal Global University are creating lifelong learners, lifelong people who can skill, upskill and unskill and again reskill. If that kind of situation we can create of a student, but many people of our age, your age, will not transform during this COVID time. They will stick to their mindset and they are going to face the major tuning of the post-COVID if at all they are not going to upgrade. So this is what I have more apprehensions because many of my friends have no jobs now because they were very strict. I can do only this much. I can design a kiln. I can design a chimney. I can't do more than that. I can't design a building. So they are gone. They're gone because there's no designing of required anymore. So that way people are not changed. This is very important part. And I think as for the second part is called digital divide. Digital divide will be there. People with ambition, people who want to do more will learn more. People with more, I would say, internet connectivity, with more information, having more access to training will learn more. People who are having less energy, having other things to do in life, are more happy with their home than profession, will create a divide. I'm reversing it. People who will learn will not create a divide. People who will learn less will create a divide. Please understand what I'm saying. Therefore, everybody has to incrementally grow. I'm positive in my mind. The people who are working hard, they will create a divide and divide should remain there so that the rest of the people will start working for that divide. So that kind of relationship. Yeah.
Singh sir, may I just allow, I'd like to intervene here. Suppose, let us say, in a scenario like this, and if it continues, unfortunately or fortunately, what will happen? Professionals like you and us, those who are working in the industries or educations, probably we will start our cottage industries. And with so many years of experience of running industries and running academics or producing managers, you and I can produce better home produces. Probably that will increase the GDP of the country. So MSME loans are given by my banks. All the banks now, it is without collateral, 2 crores of rupees. So let us go and then start industries in the villages, give employment. So, absolutely. I mean, what I want to say is that all adversities are the greatest opportunity. Yes. The question is that, are you worried? If that happens, what will happen to my Indian army? They are also fighting. The COVID is every time for them. Every second there is a COVID, which is the bullet from the enemy country. So they are not worried. So why we are so worried? So there are ways and means to look at things. Absolutely. There are ways of means to handle it. Yes. My doctor colleagues, my doctor friends.
Doctors, nurses, policemen, everybody.
Policemen. So they are fighting. So the question here, August body which you are sitting here, is to see, let us not worry. Message to my students that don't worry. It will give you better opportunity. Mind my word, it will give you a better opportunity. You will equip yourself much better than before.
I personally have equipped, what I learned in last 3 months is equal to 3 years. And physically, I reduced 5 kg, which I could not do in last 5 years.
Look at that.
So
look at that.
Yes. So what I want to tell everyone, as Dilip Sharma ji has very rightly said, it's a very important time. Most opportunities, but then gap will remain. As I said, gap will remain because somebody wants to do, somebody don't want to do. That will always be there. And final word, which I heard from Dr. Manju Agarwal that day when she was talking as a psychologist, I'm concluding on that the people with positivity and high energy will have more positivity and more high energy during this COVID time. People with negativity and low energy will further suppress themselves and will have less energy. So therefore, we have to see that what kind of person we are, and we have to grow from the cell to become more positive and more energetic. So I'll conclude here to give chance to others. Sorry, I've taken 1 or 2 minutes, sir. Bitopi, over to you.
Anupam Kher got Padma Vibhushan without having hair in his head. He is a superstar.
Yes,
Boman
yes.
Irani came to the industry at the age of 46. Look at that.
Yes, yes. They all are role models, sir. Over to Bitopi, please. Bitopi, you have not been able to hear us. Unmute yourself.
Connected, sir. Yeah, I got disconnected in between. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, sir, now actually I would like to go to Madam Asha Sharma for her specific aspect discussion. Ma'am, digital transformation that had earlier skipped the HR function in many organizations has now assumed urgency. And as a result, we would see several digital technologies that have been given cursory consideration in the past getting assimilated and becoming mainstream. How do you think is HR adopting these new technologies, and what are the major concerns for a HR professional during this adoption process?
Yeah.
Ma'am, over
So
to you.
yeah, thank you. So here, see, it is also very important that we should be clear on what we wanted to do, and what are we need to first establish a clear goal before going into a complete transformation of HR journey. So first establish a clear, defined goal that makes sense for a business perspective. Most of the time, these goals will be solved by an issue employees encounter. Like there are so many issues with all our employees, which we never get in touch with them during the normal time. So we need to establish a system like where we can immediately get in touch with our employees to encounter their issues which they are facing day-to-day life, right? And the second is we have before going to any digital transformation, we have to get along everybody on board. Means we have to take confidence of the stakeholders of the entire organization. We need all the support in order to make our project or HR digitization a subject a project successful. This means all the stakeholders from employee to the top management and everyone in between have to be involved in the entire project which we are taking up. So also by keeping in mind that HR has to be digitally strong, we should not complicate ourselves by taking too many things into our kitty. First, we need to prioritize our ideas. If we talk about ideas or we ask any of our stakeholders about their idea, we will get a long list of ideas because everybody is full of ideas now, right? So we need to prioritize first what is important to implement in an organization. So we can take the pre-selection, then onboarding, development, learning and development, and payroll management. If it is not completely digitization, we can touch upon on all those areas. And also at the same time, it is very, very important to assess the performance of the digital project which you have implemented. So it should not be like for the sake of making HR into complete digitization, we have implemented some project which is not giving such result to the business. So we have to at the same time give result to our business, right? And also the sixth point which I'll touch upon is culture is also very important. So culture of an organization. So digital technology is only not enough for an HR transformation. It is a digital transformation of the entire organization. And that has everything to do with the company culture. From the new joining we hire via the current workforce, all the way up to the higher level, have to establish a digital mindset in the broadest sense for a successful transformation of all the HR processes into digitization. So, and in summary, our mindset of the entire organization and behavior has already started changes, as we all have talked about it. Clearly, the world will never be the same, as we all know, because there will be a long-lasting effect which we have seen in our past. So after we stabilize our basic services, we will likely to change our target for innovation and policies, the HR policies which we have for all our employees. And also to see the world's requirement for digital technology and digital transformation is also important at the same time. So both the factors are accelerating. So this would be from my end for the complete digitization. What are the aspects we should look upon?
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think it was quite insightful. Now, I think we'll go to the third segment, which is the question and answer segment. My first question would be to Professor Dr. S.P. Singh, sir. Sir, it is said that culture change planning is at the forefront of any initiative. Human resource departments will need to change their company cultures first before they change the technology. How should HR handle this change management aspect of digital transformation?
Very good question. I would say very difficult also to answer, but more difficult to implement. Answer is not a big deal. So I think once the culture of the organization is having no digital inputs, bringing it to fully digital, or as Asha ji has said, partially digital platform, will be very difficult process. But I think in today's world, none, I would say none. If I say none, I mean none. That nobody is living without digitalization. Everybody is somehow or other is digital because of the maybe WhatsApp group, simplest of the simple, that may be emails and WhatsApp. So everybody is in a way digital, but not fully digital, or maybe mostly digital. I use this word. So if you want to bring people from normal digital to most digital or mostly digital, I think we need to change the culture. And I think it starts from top. If top to bottom systems are going to be everything as per policy is going to be digital, I think people are very adaptable in this country. I have seen during this time my teachers, my professors, they within 1 week started teaching online, which they never have experienced any time. So people will become digital. And I tell you, digital platform now, because I was also very apprehensive, they are very friendly platforms. We may think it is very difficult, but once you are into it, you learn so quickly because it is on the auto learning mode. So I don't think so it is going to be a big difficulty, but it will flow from top to bottom. It cannot be done by only HR. From the promoters to the CEO and everybody, if implement digital culture, I think we all, I mean, suppose I get a call from somebody and somebody asking a decision, I said, and please don't call, send me a message or send me on mail only, then I will answer. It is good for the policy also. And it will be, I'm trying to be more digitally sound than to be emotionally. And when it is an emotional issue, when digital can't work, I will go for emotional issue. That may be a phone call, that may be face to face. So this is not a problem, but it will take time. It cannot be done overnight, but then it has been done very effectively in the pandemic time. And I think we have already transformed. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. My next question would be to Asha Sharma, ma'am. Ma'am, what can HR do for greater adoption and minimizing resistance towards technology? Also, what safeguards do you think can be established to minimize the risk that accompanies the adoption of a new technology?
Yeah, thank you for the question. First, as I have touched upon, and Mr. Singh has also said, that cultural change is very important and it is not going to have overnight. And also, on the security system, we have to be self-aware of what we are using today, right? While self-assurity is also important. If we are using Zoom today, we should be very careful, as we have heard news about Zoom, that they are taking out of our personal data from our laptop. So we have to be very clear. Yeah. So also, on the security point of view, if we are implementing something into the HR while doing digitization into two of our policies during this time, so we have to be very clear enough that whatever data we are sharing, it should be safe and secured with our strong IT anti-security, right? So we have to work hand in hand with our IT department for the security reasons. So this is from my end on the security part. But at the same time, self-awareness is also required. Why? See, while downloading an app in our mobile, we simply agree on all the small windows we get. We doesn't read to the entire message, right? So we should be self-aware now that it is high time for all of us, as the complete world is changing into the digital form. We have to read all the instruction terms and conditions carefully
Right.
before we proceed.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm picking up the next question from our audience, and this I'm putting up to Mr. Tridip Sharma, sir. Sir, with gig economy being predicted as the future, what major challenges will it provide to the HR practitioners across the globe?
Come again, the first line.
Yes, with gig economy being predicted as the future, what major challenges will it provide to the HR practitioners across the globe?
See, first of all, as Singh sir and then Asa ma'am had said, it is the two things, the combination of two things. It is not the culture alone. It is the value system of the company. If the combination of the culture and the value put together, HR's job is to really motivate the people in line with the requirement. And once that is done, the major big challenge comes to implement it through training and retraining. And if both the things put together, the values, the training, as well as the culture system, then what happens? The employees in-house are ready to accept the challenge which is coming in the gig economy. And once that is done, then what happens? The things will be much more easier to make policy in line with that. And once the culture, the training, the equipments, the people are also trained, then what happens? The new challenges which had been thrown to this entire system will be easier to handle, easier to practice, and easier to establish. Let us think for a second, the gig economy, or at the same time new economy, or the older economies. Any business houses are meant for making profit, right? So therefore, making profit itself is a system by itself. The people, those are working in HR, the finance, the technology, the IT, what is called the supply chain, the sales, the marketing, the commercials, all these people are working for one particular reason, is making profit. And once that is done in the synchronized manner, I don't think that that kind of a challenge is a bigger challenge for us. Again, repeat, the value, the culture, the training, making people aware, equipped, and at the same time, technology transfer. All these things put together will be the right approach.
Thank you so
Bitopi,
much, sir. Yes, sir.
I want to just add on, because
Yes, sir.
the freelancing and the contractual jobs, that is the component of the gig economy. So that probably, in my opinion, will increase because of uncertainties. Maybe people have understood, and businesses will go down slowly and then they will pick up again. So another 1 or 2 years, maybe it's quite likely that HR may decide to hire people more on contracts, more on consultancy mode than on a permanent basis. So that kind of things may increase. That is my just little bit understanding about that. I wanted to add on. Right, Bitul.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So my next question is to you,
Okay.
Singh sir. Yeah. So how can digital transformations in HR contribute to the CSR activities of the organizations?
Digital, again, come again, digital.
Transformations. How can digital transformations in HR contribute to the CSR activities of organizations? CSR.
I think no direct relation. It seems
Yeah.
I don't know. No direct relation, because digitalization is basically for the purpose of the organization and for the employees in the organization, or maybe outside stakeholders, including banks and all. But then for CSR activity, we have a certain rules and norms. CSR doesn't mean that there are two ways to do CSR. One is that industry itself go to the community and do direct CSR. And second method is that company sponsor different people to do CSR on their behalf. There are only 2-3 models. So I somehow remember only 2 models right now. So in that model, if I say digital, so I think if you are doing on your own, you can record your CSR in a digital format. You can have all those activities, whatever you are doing in CSR, it will become more digital. Or you can provide some kind of digital CSR to all those people who don't have. maybe a primary school in Titalia can be given a digital platform and everybody is being provided with a tablet of low cost so that the student can study. So, I mean, if you say the digital transformation of the country as such, and if the CSR is molded towards the digital transformation of the company and the world, then it is a little bit related to the question. But otherwise, there's no direct relationship in
Yeah,
this
there
question.
is
I'm
no
sorry.
direct. Yeah, there is no direct relation. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to add on what Singh sir said is that, see, government rule is that 2% of your earning you will have to reinvest to the society. That is the government rule so far. So it is irrelevant for us whether we are making that profit through digital platform, physical platform, or combination of both. So now the question is that what kind of a CSR your organization would like to do? It is medical, it is education, social transformation, technology transfer, or let's say smaller industrial, or at the
Right.
same time making roads. So those things is the company priority. But I don't think that digitization or COVID will change unless government of India change the policy or company adopt to the policy.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. My next question is to Madam Asha Sharma. I have seen a couple of questions on layoffs and stuffs, but aligning that to the theme of what we are discussing today, I would just like to ask you, ma'am, do you think technology will have any impact on the retention rates in the organization?
Yeah, very good question on this. Actually, I was thinking about to touch upon this point. Yes, retention is very important. Retention comes from employee satisfaction. If the employee is satisfied, he will be connected with the organization. He will be engaged with an organization. Yes, it works on the retention part as well. How digitization will help on retention? Like for example, if an employee have a query, so how much time is turnaround time we as an HR professional take to resolve his query? It is also important. If my query is resolved today, I have query in my mind and I am asking to you, and you are not able to answer me at the right time, I will be the most dissatisfied employee. So digitization is giving us a trigger to answer or to resolve the query of an employee within a turnaround time. So we have developed a system in our intranet. This is called Employee Help Desk. So we have touched upon all the areas like what an employee may have queries related to HR activities. Like an employee may have a query related to his salary, related to his tax, related to his tax deduction, his car loan, all the areas, right? So we have or his performance management system or his reporting structure. There may be n number of questions related to HR. So we have established this portal and given access to all our employees. So look, there is a portal where you can raise your query, and we have a mandate that as an HR professional, I have to resolve the query within 24 hours of receiving that query. So it is a mandate. So if I don't answer, then it escalates to the second level, my seniors, right? So this is again a satisfaction which we are providing to our employee digitally to retain him, to engage him with our work environment. So digitally satisfaction is very, very important part for a retention tool. So yes, this is the form which we have adopted.
Thank you so much, ma'am. My next question is to Mr. Tridip Sharma, sir. There are several questions of the same nature regarding the kind of confusion that many students are now facing since HR is going for this complete digital transformation. So many of the participants want to know what are the upcoming skills, which mostly Singh sir has already highlighted. But in terms of courses and other additions in the management studies curriculum, do you think there are certain additions that needs to be done, sir?
Okay. My friends, the students, first of all, let me tell you once again, I have probably repeated 3 times. Don't worry. Job will increase. Lot more industry will come to our rural places, to our doorsteps. Lot of bank branches will come. Lot of industry will come, lot of township will move to the villages because cities will not be the same because of this advancement. So job will be there. First, my assurance to you, job will be there, job will enlarge, job will increase. Now to get the job, as I had touched upon in the beginning, it's not the question of employment, it's the question of employability. Now the entire discussions today and in the past also, you have also read a lot of things in the system, in the net, in the papers, in the discussion, in the televisions, that digitization, digitization and digitization. Digitization is already there. Your mobile itself is a digitized platform. It's a smartphone. It has everything. So you know that. My nanny also used that WhatsApp today. So therefore, so digitization already built in. You go to a hospital, everything is digitized. All machines are digitized. Surgery is digitized. So where we are not digitized, go sit in an aircraft, it is digitized. So everything is digitized. This is not new. We are creating a hype. Life will be as it is, I am telling you. But probably some of the things will be taken over by computer. Having said that, understood computer first. MS Word is the game changer for our life. If you take my computer today and give me a type machine, I will commit suicide. So MS Office, simple format, MS Office, learn certain software. As Sir had said in the beginning, recruitment. Why recruitment? HR automation has already taken up 10 years before. My last company, Airtel, has been automated HR, long years. Unilever, much before that. My new bank, 50% of my job is done by the software. So we have already embarked onto it. Slowly we are taking it. Appraisal system, automated. Recruitment system, automated. Leave system, automated. Salary calculation, HRMS. Where is not automated? Even then I am supported by 17 people. Why? Because digitization cannot take away human intervention. As Asa said, we have also the same employee help desk. Employee raise type questions into that tool. Who will answer? Somebody will type at the end. That is into human interference. Can it be typed by the computer itself? No. I can create FAQs, ready-made answers. Are they exhaustive? No. People mind have hundreds and thousands of questions every second in and second out. So that particular FAQ, that particular tool will not satisfy human mind. It is a volcano. So therefore human interferences will be there. Now what are the skill? As I had said, computer skill, communication skill. What is communication skill? My very lovely answer to make you understand who is the best communicator of the world, you know? This is Lord Hanuman. He went to Sri Lanka, he came back and he said, I met Sita, I saw her. Here is an evidence, ring. And Rama said, war. Having he said that I have seen a beautiful woman sitting under an Asuka tree, crying and swelling eyes, I guess Sita, Rama would not have taken the decision of war. Because war means millions of life. So communicate like Hanuman. So communication is one key. If you sit for an interview, there are 3 stages of life and you are completely alone. One stage is when you are sitting in front of the interview panel, you are completely alone. Your friends, girlfriends, mothers, your auntie, nobody will be there. You will be struggling. The second, when you will be standing in the stage, completely alone. And when you will be dying, you are completely alone. All these processes, what helps you? Your technical knowledge, your personal skill, and on top of everything, the attitude. I am dying, let me die gracefully. I am appearing interview, let me appear the interview gracefully and prepared. So what is that communication which will help you in the interview? Second is that analytical ability. Learn Excel as much as you can. Forget the calculator. Use Excel, everything for your laundry list of marketing to the Dhobi list of the shirts and pants you are going to give. Everything you do in the Excel. If you can increase your ability in analytical skill, if you can increase your ability in communication, what will happen? Your things will be very easy. And tell you, everything in my life, whatever I would have learned right from my school to IIM is not relevant to me. Only one thing which is relevant to me is my speaking ability in languages, Hindi, English, Assamese, whatever languages I speak. Second is my analytical ability, my calculation. So mathematics and language. These are the 2 things. As Sir rightly said, that every digital platform is an auto learning process. You just sit in front of that, it itself will teach you. Delete, save, submit, Everything is there. So where is the struggle? And in any case, they will definitely take you in induction processes. They will give you training. Therefore, there is a branch of talent development in every HR processes. They will train you. So first of all, as I had said in the beginning, when you are applying for a job, just ask yourself, am I employable for the job? And at the same time, as Asa said, it is an applications or it is a resume, whatever it is, depict those things very clearly in small paragraphs. It should be your replica. I am not going today to meet my HR in Eveready. Asa Sharma is sitting there. But I am sending me through that particular piece, whether it is e-form or whether it is physical form. Asa Sharma should read that and understand, if I need one person for the job, this is none other than Tridip Sharma. That decision into her mind will come from that particular page. So write that page skillfully and be prepared for the interview and be confident. You say that if somebody says, I normally ask the question at the end when I find that person is very suitable for me. I always ask the question, probably 90 out of 100, tell me why I should take you. One guy said, if you don't take me, it will not be loss of mine, it will be loss of yours. So that kind of a confidence he portrayed, and that has already been answered by various questions and various stimulation during the time of interview. So those final adding marks is reassuring that my decision of taking the person is not wrong. So therefore, be confident, write your CV well, learn analytics and learn communication. These are the 4 5 things. And Government of India, we are after all Indians. We know how to get rid of difficult situation. We will find our ways and means to survive in this world. We have survived, we will survive. But last, for the people of Northeast, don't confine yourself in Northeast. Look out. If you look out, there are hundreds of opportunities. And this is a golden opportunity established because established cities of India, established countries of the world have less manpower. And all of us should go and take over those positions. So be prepared yourself globally and be prepared yourself for pan-India level. Don't confine yourself in Assam or Northeast. My greatest worry even today, if I transfer a branch manager from Sibsagar to Jorhat, his mother telephoned me and he is 35 years old boy. His mother said that my son has been transferred to Sibsagar. Sir, can you retain him in Jorhat? What is the distance between Sibsagar and Jorhat? That is 60 kilometers. At the age of 58, I drove from Guwahati to Tinsukia, stopped 10 minutes and then reversed back to Guwahati. 18 hours, 1,000 kilometers. What is this? This is digitization. Create your mind as a digitized platform. Look at globally.
Thank you. It
Thank
is
you
really,
so much, sir.
yeah. It's very, very important point you have touched at the end, because that is where we fail many times to convince the students to go and do job anywhere in the world. Forget about world, any part of the India becomes very difficult for us. I think
I will help you to get job in pan India level. My all juniors are seniors today in various industries.
So kind of you. So kind of it.
So I think the students need not worry at all. Sir has already highlighted you have several takeaways, and also sir is there to help you. Okay. So sir, I think because of paucity of time, I'll be moving on to our last part, which is the conclusion. So I request all the speakers to at least provide their concluding remarks, and then we'll be coming to the end, sir. So we can start with Asha Sharma, ma'am.
As we all have touched upon that, do not worry. You have to keep your mind open, whether it is digitization, whether it is shifting from Assam to other parts of the country, you need not have to worry. Keep your mind open. And what is digital? In fact, it comes to our mind that we want something like this, and we develop something into the system and turn into a digital platform, right? This is our mind which has given birth to digitization or digital technology, right? Need not have to worry of whatever it has come in our way. We all are there to help you out. Yes, for skill development, you think, sit quietly and think what you actually wanted to do in your life. That is also very important. It is not HR or it is not sales. You need to first be clear what you want from your life, right? If you join sales and after 6 months or 1 year you realize that that is not your cup of tea or that is not your forte, so you are shifting, that means you have wasted your time of 1 year, right? You have to be very clear at the time of before you start your career. I have seen my juniors in Assam, or who all our friends had come together, 5 6 friends, and come to Delhi in 2000 for graduation. So most of us had stayed here, but few went back to Assam because they could not survive here. So homesickness is good, but to build a career, you have to be very determined what you want from your life. So do not worry. Make up your mind what you actually wanted to do, and things will fall on your way. All the best, students.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Tridip Sharma, sir, your
I
concluding
have
remarks.
already said so many things. Just to summarize, and Asa has echoed my voice only. My only thing is that the new work, as he said, that once you get a job, there are certain slight changes because it's a changing scenario, and it will be a changing scenario. These changes has not brought by the COVID. The changes has already begun, but COVID has intensified the changes. So therefore, learning will be different. Obviously, we will learn, we will work, and we will learn. So there is a continuous learning process. So therefore, CEP, the continuous education plan, should be an individual's portrait. An individual should always keep it in the top of his mind. That is called TOMA, and one should practice it. And at the same time, let us live a worried less life. Until and unless you do not have, don't live a worry-less life, what will happen? This kind of newses, this kind of things will always worry you, and at the same time lead to depression. Today, I could see a lot of boys and girls of young age are suffering from depression. So don't worry. And if today I am sitting in front of you, let me tell you, I have started with a very humble background. I had come from a village, and if I can survive with the Unilever and world globally, and I would have worked 16 different countries thanks to Unilever and thanks to Airtel also sitting at Delhi. I mean, heading a vertical completely pan India. So probably you guys are much smarter. You guys have seen world much better than me. You have born with digital platform. So it is not new to you. It is new to me. It is new to Singh sir. It is not new to you. My son taught me. My nieces taught me today. So it is, you are used to it. Just play with the technology and prepare yourself. Enjoy life.
Great.
Thank you so much. It was quite encouraging for us students, especially. And lastly, Singh sir, your concluding remarks.
First of all, that I 100% agree to each and every word being spoken by two of my very esteemed panel members today. So I ditto that, and I say whatever. And this was really very, very motivating for each and every student of Royal Global University and faculty members also. Bitopi to you also, I would say that.
Yes.
And then as far as the concluding remarks are concerned, I think with respect to digital, with respect to future jobs, with respect to the way future HR managers are going to select my students and individuals, I have only 3 things to say. One is that whatever digital will happen, because we have seen there was no television, there was no telephone, in fact, only the ringing bell. And from there, we have come to this, our generation of Tridip Sharma ji and mine, and maybe little bit Asha may have seen some part of it, but then she's far younger to us. So, I mean, that kind of transition we have easily cope up. And this transition which is having on the same platform. So there is not big thing which is happening, so don't worry about it. Worry is only one that I feel is that worry people are having nowadays, that artificial intelligence, data analytics, robotics, and all those things will gradually take up their job. No, Deep Sharma sir has very clearly said, and I'm repeating, that emotions, empathy, communication, and the way individuals behave, love, affection can never be there in these platforms. So those are the important traits, that critical thinking. The time has come that each and every individual should think beyond robotics and computers and supercomputers, and that is critical thinking. Nobody can match I will tell you the day this universe will die down, only then something major better than us will be created. So don't worry about that, number one, but you have to be rewinding yourself and becoming more critical thinker. But you have to have more value-based systems, ethical systems, love and affection, and critical thinking. That will be your trump card for future. Minimum skills, required skills are there to become employable. There's no doubt about it. I 100% agree to that. But I know 50% of the people, as Asha said rightly, and I know my friends, and I am graduates, they could not sustain for more than 3 months to 6 months in a particular organization. That was never based on skills. That was based upon their attitude, their hard work, and their behavior. That emotional intelligence and social intelligence, that is most important. So learn these things hard: social, emotional, EQ, everything, attitude and hard work. And skill should be 20-30% of your personality. If Asha, I'm wrong, tell me. Once we select people, 70% weightage we give to all other aspects, and 30% we give to skill. Because if we get a right kind of person, we can skill him. But if we get the wrong kind of person, we will never be able to skill him. So that I want to conclude. Try to work upon this 70% model and 30% for skilling. Thank you so much, Bitopi. My side.
Thank you so much, sir. And just to conclude, probably I think technology will always be ahead of us in the curve, and organizations will always try to catch up. But as you have rightly pointed out, right people with the right attitude, with the right skills, will definitely make the organization agile and help them in sustaining. So I think as the voice of human capital and an evolving workforce, HR is undoubtedly repositioned as the key agent for this organizational evolution. And we are happy that, and we are also looking forward for a massive digital transformation in this aspect. With this, actually, I would like to conclude our today's session, and I have extend my heartfelt gratitude to all our speakers and most importantly our participants for their interaction in the form of questions, and also a heartfelt thank you to the team behind this event. Thank you all and have a good day. And